In this video, we are going to implement a basic loading screen with a slider that will display the current progress of loading, a background image, and some random tips. For that, we will need a few things. A canvas with UI elements for the loading panel, scene controller, game controller with a button for changing scenes. Let's start with the first one. We should create a canvas with a panel. In the UI panel, and then name it accordingly, like loading panel. I'll switch to 2D and press F so I can see my canvas clearly. And I'll add some image. Like this. I will make it just blank white. Here we also need a slider that we might customize. I'll add it, UI, slider, and that just increase it a bit. What we might change is a handler. For example, I want it to be a fire. So I'll search for handler slide area, and then for handle. And instead of knob, I'll choose something like... So now my handle is a fire. I also change a few area to have color, for example, orange. And now when I change my value, it would be orange and it would be fire. I will also make sure that my minimum value is 0 and my maximum value is 1. This will be important later. I will also create a text to display a tip here. I'll change color to be black. And like this, our canvas is ready. So let's go to this code. I will create a scene manager and add scene controller to it. I will remove everything from the script so I can start fresh. If you need to add another scene, you have to use a scene manager in Unity. My setup is intended to have several scenes simultaneously. One for game controller and player, music controller, scene controller, etc. and other for environment levels. I'll just quickly create another scene. It will be level 1, and I'll move environment there. Right now, in the main scene, we have only a player and all the essential things needed to the game to work out. And then in the level 1, we have only environment. It will help us to reduce memory used in our game, so our levels would be modular and customizable. Going back to Scene Manager, I will create a public function, public void load scene, which I will use later in our GameController. And I will just make Scene Manager async async, and I will make it level 1 and in mode additive. And of course we have to import it. Right now I'm coding the name of the level, but after that it will be customizable. Right now I just want to make it work, and then I will make it clean. Scene Manager load scene async means that we will load another scene asynchronously, so the main process won't be affected. Then I will create a game controller, the game controller script. Like always, I will remove everything. And right now I want to have a button after clicking on which I will make a transition to another scene. So I install a package in Windows Package Manager, and it's called Inspector Button Pro. It's free and I strongly recommend it because it helps us to debug and mock some functionalities. Without this package, I would have to create a button and assign on-click event to it. But right now I can just create a function, private void load, and I will write ProPlayButton above it. What we need is a serialized field for the scene controller, and I will make a loading scene here. Why here and not in the scene controller? Few reasons. Because I want to have all functionalities in the game controller. So, for example, when I change a scene, I want to play another music, or I just want to disable all the inputs. I want to inject these functionalities from the scene controller and make GameController responsible for changing the scene. Going back to Unity, right now I have a load scene button and I have to assign a scene manager here. And in the view profiles, I have to add a scene level 1 to the scene list. Now I run the game. Because we see this loading screen because I didn't make it invisible in the code. So I click load screen and we can see that scene is loaded. But right now we do not have a loading screen. Let's fix that. So the basic loading is working. Next we need to add coroutine to create a loading screen. Let's go back to the scene manager. And instead of just loading screen here, I will start a coroutine. And it will be named load scene async. I'll just create it. And instead of string, we'll have to use enumerator because it's coroutine. Coroutine is just another function that can wait for something. It's not a multi-threading, but it's something similar to it. And the argument would be level name, which will be provided in load sync from our game manager. String level name, and we will also provide string level name. And in GameController, let's just write level 1. First, we need to check whether the scene is already loaded and is it valid. If so, we just yield break, a simple return instruction. So let's just find this scene from the scene manager by its name, by name, and level name as a parameter. And then if scene is valid and scene loaded, then we will yield break. And then, of course, we will make it loadable. For now, we will need few variables, and I will just quickly add them and then comment on them. I have created references for the game object, not game controller, for our canvas, for the tip text, and for the progress bar. And then I have created a minimum loading time, which we will use later, and some list of tips, which we will be displaying. Then, after we check that our scene is not loaded, we will make a loading canvas set active to true. And at the beginning, the start, set it to false. After loading a screen, of course, we have to set it to false once again. And for the tip text should be random range tips count. You have to use Unity Engine random. So every time we are loading some screen, there would be some random tip. Then we need to create async operation. Operation is equal to this asynchronous method. And we will wait for the operation to be finished in the while loop. So until operation is not done, we will be making something. For example, updating progress bar. Progress bar value is equal to operation progress divided by 0.9f, and we will clamp this value between 0 and 1. Just like that. How the script will know that operation is already done? So, we will have to make sure that the scene won't be loaded until we make it ready. To do that, we need operation allow scene activation to be set to false, and when operational progress is greater than 0.9f, operation allow scene activation should be set to true. And if it's not, we will have to wait. And we'll do that by yield returning null. Now it's ready, but it will be loaded really quickly because I have only few environment things in my scene. I have to make sure that loading screen will be shown for at least 1 second. To do that, I'll make a variable for loading progress, which will be equal to mathf minimum of our operation, and right now it would be 0, I will make progress bug value to loading progress. And we have to compare it with elapsed time from the moment of where we started loading our screen. Start time is equal to time divided by load minimum time. So of course we have to check whether time minus start time is greater or equal than minimum loading time. Let's check it out. And it's working right now. And when I click 2 times load scene, it would not be loaded once again because it's already loaded. Let's make it scalable and usable in the code. I will not implement a single tone, like when you have scene controller accessible in all the code, because of the scope of responsibilities. Right now, the game controller controls the way of loading levels, but the scene controller actually implements it. In the game controller, we might want to disable all inputs and change sounds, and it would coordinate and orchestrate all these things. I will do the scalability by creating a static class with static events. We can create a scriptable object for some events to be able to invoke them between different scenes, but it will complicate things for the small project I have. Let's make a trigger for transition to the next level. I will create an empty named triggers, and I will create a 3D cube. Yeah. I will delete a mesh renderer and increase some collider and make it trigger. Then I will create a script named exit trigger. Like always, I'll delete everything. Then on collider enter, if collision game object tag is equal to player, I will invoke a game events on scene changed. In the exit trigger, you have to use on trigger enter instead of on collider enter. I have to assign a player tag to the player and then create a game events. How about our scripts, scripting, on a behavior, game events. It would be a static class. Is public static event action on in change and public static void invoke in changed and invoke scene change. And it will accept a scene name as an argument. And action will have a string as a parameter. Action is a generic type of object, so every function can subscribe to it, and it will be notified when this event is invoked. So what I will do is to invoke this event action using question mark, so it will make sure that if there is no subscriber, this event won't be invoked. I have to invoke scene changed, and it will be level 2. And of course, I will have to create a level 2. I'll create some environment. So right now, when we go to this exit trigger, our level 2 would be loaded. Let's make it more customizable. So serialized field, private string, level name, and then invoke it, our function. I'll just define level's name as level 2, and then add a scene to the scene list. Still not working though, because we have not assigned to this event anything. Let's do this in GameController. In the start, we have to add a first level. So let's just do this. In the awake, let's subscribe to game events on scene change to add scene. And this function will have a parameter, level name, and scene controller would have to add a new scene. And here we can also make some music change, stop player's movement, and many other things. But for now, only scene manager would be sufficient. Let's check it out. Our player has fallen because character controller wasn't disabled when we started, but I will move it here accordingly. And I realized two things. First, we have to, in this async operation, we have to provide a level name instead of level 1. And right now, once again, move our player to the needed location. You can see that we have level 1 loaded and level 2 loaded too. To fix that, we can have a private string previous level and then assign it. A previous level would be set to level name, and if previous level isn't equal to empty string, we will unload it. And it's done by scene manager unload scene async and previous level name. And from the beginning, it should be set to empty string. And right now, when I move to our trigger, level 2 would be loaded and level 1 would be unloaded. And now it's done. Thank you for watching. Please give this video a like so it will be more visible on YouTube. See you in the next one. Ciao!